Get ready for a new training episode of It's Your Move, brought to you by The Positioner.
Hello, I'm Roderick Martin, the founder of Experts Positioning Academy and also known as The Positioner. And it's my pleasure today to be speaking with a well-known message strategist. This is PR coach Pam Perry of Ministry Marketing Solutions. Pam is constantly working with the emerging and best-selling authors, ministry leaders, experts, and the entrepreneur. And I just want to kind of go over a few of Pam's accomplishments right now. And let me just say, she has a whole list of them. Being selected twice as one of the being featured brand marketer news and the top urban professionals, and so excited to be in the room or just working with you, Pam. And let me just get started. It's hard to be a prophet in your own town, and I noticed that you have already been known as, in Detroit Free Press, called the Marketing Wiz Almost Immortal Mission. How did that happen for you?
Well, for one thing, thank you, Ryder, for that introduction. For one thing, I've been in media for a long time, so it's kind of hard when you are doing branding for people. If they're looking for a particular topic, I was sought out for a source on ministry marketing. And I've been doing that at that point in time for about 7 years. So they interviewed me and Marvin Winans, and they were looking for a top African-American ministry leader. So Marvin Winans was one, and then they were looking for someone that did marketing in ministry. So they just did a quick little Google check, and I popped up.
Well, that's great, because I know Publishers Weekly refers to you as the PR guru in the Christian book market. And then, of course, recently, right, you've been the cover story of one of the award magazines lately. And which magazine was that?
Oh, that was Divine Magazine out down south there in Tennessee. Yeah, they had their business, actually, edition. And they put me on the cover, and they said that I was the marketing expert or the PR guru or whatever these terms that people use. But it kind of, in a way, when you think about a guru, you think that someone is old. And I'm like, is that a good thing? So anyway, but no, I guess I've been in the career for a while. I started when I was 5.
Tell you what, so for those of you who are listening right now, I'm really excited that you agreed to, speak with me today. So I want everybody to grab a pen, and I think you're going to get a huge amount of value out of the next 30 minutes or so. And I just want people to understand that they're talking with a professional. You're talking with someone that's highly in demand, and she's going to share some strategies, reveal a few secrets, and let me tell you, it's going to be worth every cent of your time just to be here listening. So you said you've been doing this a long time. Kind of take me back in the beginning, before it all happened. Let's give us a little overview of your entrepreneur journey. How did you get here today to be great the way you are now?
Thank you so much. Well, actually, it started with a seed. Growing up, my pastor had told me that I was going to do PR for Jesus. I had no idea even what PR was all about, and all I knew is that I liked to promote and I liked to write. So I was probably about maybe 13, 14 years old when he said that. Stayed in the back of my mind. By the time I went to college, majored in public relations, journalism. My first job out of college, I worked at the Detroit Free Press. I worked there for about 6 or 7 years. I was actually in the advertising department. So I actually rose through the ranks, and I was actually in sales there. Left there, went into radio broadcasting because I heard that, working in radio, and I love radio. And it said that will be the next really lucrative thing to do. So I started in radio. During this time, I'm always reaching back and doing things within the nonprofit realm, and also spending a lot of weekends doing a lot of church promoting and marketing. Little did I know that would be my career. So I'm working at the Free Press, still doing that. Then eventually I move into advertising agency. So I'm working with an advertising agency, not working with churches, but at this point in time I'm working with the market, the African-American market, just in general. And from there, I kind of decided that I really don't think this is really for me. I was feeling that epiphany, like I'm just really selling things that didn't matter to me. I was passionate about books. I was passionate about things, motivational, inspirational type of things. And so I really decided that I'm going to put a lot of time and energy towards nonprofits. First nonprofit job I did everything, from the marketing, from the promotion, from the PR, from the database, direct mail, and I did it all. Very good experience, and I was in the fund development, which is basically sales. So I was in the fund development department. Did that for a year, was recruited to the Salvation Army to be the director of public relations, and I stayed there for 7 years. Loved the work. Loved the work. I mean, I loved the mission. It was just a wonderful job. Problem was, I got married, had a baby, and I didn't go back. And at that point in time, during the time when I was on my maternity leave, I was really deciding what I really wanted to do. My husband had an agency, an advertising agency, and so after the baby got a little bit bigger, I didn't go back to the Salvation Army. I worked with him. So he was my partner in life and also in business. So I worked with him, and I worked in primarily, you would think, what type of accounts I brought in were really the ones that I was passionate about, which were ministry. The problem was that his agency primarily dealt with automotive, dealing with the big three. Didn't really meld too well. Yeah, that was pretty interesting. So he's trying to do the thing dealing with the automotive. I'm coming in PR, bringing in ministry type of clients, bringing in authors and that sort of thing. So eventually the business does do its dovetail, meaning it went out of business because he's dealing with the automotive. And this I'm talking about, this is like around 1997, 98, 99 type of thing. Business goes out of business. He goes to get a job. He works in another advertising agency working on a very good account, working on Ford. That's his passion. That's his love. My passion was like, so what am I going to do? We have this child we've got to raise. I follow my passion. In essence, that's when Ministry Marketing Solutions was born. So I took all of my skills from working in newspaper, radio, also worked at a Christian television station, and also background to the Salvation Army, and said, I'm going to start my own ministry marketing agency. And that's where it really started. It started in 2000. So it's been about 12 years. And our first client was my first client was an author that was a former CNN anchor, Andrea Hall. She's went on since passed, but she was making the transition from media as well. That's how we really connected, and moving more into ministry and speaking because her book was called The Walk at Work. And so at that point in time, she worked with a division of Waterbrook Press, which was her press. And from there, I just got a lot of other publishers I worked with. I worked with Zondervan and Moody and Random House and, every major publishing house I was working with their authors. So that's how it all started. That's a long answer, but that's really how it all started. So eventually, what my pastor said, I'm doing PR for Jesus, that is true. Ministry Marketing Solutions is really doing that, doing PR for Jesus.
It's about living your purpose, and some people, spend all their lives trying to find their purpose. And, and that kind of takes me into one of the things that I want to talk about now. And I truly believe, Pam, that we're now in what I call the knowledge economy. People use their life stories, their strategies, for success to help other people improve their lives or businesses. These type of people is going to have more income. We're going to have more influence, impact, and I also believe that experts truly own the economy, and it's not the other way around. And I think that experts write their own ticket through books, speeches, seminars, coaching, online marketing. So my question to you is, and I know we cover a lot of ground when it comes to marketing, but let me start by asking, when is the right time for a new author or an entrepreneur to seek your expertise? How much preparation should they have already gone through when they meet someone like yourself?
Well, it's almost like I'm from Detroit, so Motown. So think about Berry Gordy and the people that he was working with. They all had raw talent, right? They had raw talent. Diana Ross and the Supremes, Smokey Robinson, Stevie Wonder, they all had raw talent. But what Berry Gordy did is that he worked with them and got them ready. The more preparation, he gave them the look. He gave them what they needed to do in terms of their style, and he gave them their brand, basically. And that took a while. That took a lot of nurturing and cultivation. It was a lot of preparation. So say he was working with Diana Ross and the Supremes before they even hit the stage, before they even made the hit record. You better believe that they were working with him at least a year before they actually did anything, sometimes two, because they've got to find their right brand. They have to build their entire persona. So the same thing with an author. You just don't start out, I have a book, it's going to be out in a couple of weeks. Let me tell all my friends, let me do an e-blast. No, that is not how you do it. That is a quick way to get very disappointed, one, because the book sales, and then two, you'll get mad at your friends because you didn't prep them. You didn't position yourself right.
Wow, and you know what? That's just wonderful. You're leading right into my questions, and that's just like great minds think alike. You know, being the founder of Expert Positioning Academy, and of course, known in the creative space as the positioner, I will always be an advocate of expert positioning. So my question to you is, how important is expert positioning when it comes to public relations?
It is very important. Before you even send out one e-blast, or before you even call one radio station or try to get into somebody's magazine, you've got to know, where do you fit in the market. You've got to understand, what is your platform, what is your brand, because you're going to be targeting your market. Really, you're targeting a market, so you need to know, how do you want to be perceived by that market. What is the perception that they're going to have in their mind about you? And you know, Roderick, that perception is reality. So you've got to really get that perception right for the people, for them to think about you in the right way in the market. So how you position yourself is very, very important. Give an example. If I were positioning myself in the business arena, okay, versus the ministry marketing, there's going to be different things that I'm going to do with every touch point of my brand. It will be from my email signature to my website to even the type of colors I choose. You know, you find that sometimes in ministry they use a lot of purple and gold, but maybe corporate you would use blue. Everything, every touch point of your brand positions you further in someone's mind. So you've got to think about everything in terms of the look and the color, the type of media that you have. If you have a book, what type of endorsements really positions you in the market as well. So if I have a book and it's like, oh, I want to get I wrote a business book, but I really want to get endorsement from T.D. Jakes. Well, okay, it's a business book, but if you get an endorsement from T.D. Jakes, yes, he's famous, but it doesn't position you in the right market where you want to go. So that's what I mean by positioning. You really have to know who it is that you are as a person, as a brand, and then making sure that you are going after every touch point to make sure that the market who you're going after understands who you are and what you're about.
Those points that you just made is probably, you know, and I hope the listeners are really taking notes, because, you know, we're talking to one of the best, the professionals of professionals, and, you know, and you're really giving some great points. And I know some of them are listening right now, and they're probably saying to themselves, you know, answer some questions about marketing, and I'm sure they're dying to hear some more detailed strategies. So I'm going to go over a couple of things that I know that you've already created, and maybe you can kind of just get down a little deeper into it for some of the listeners. And let me start with your platform. I know you're working on a platform and marketing 2.0 type of seminar. And my question is, you know, what type of mistakes have you noticed that people are making when it comes to marketing that really end up being what we would just call just useless? I know you can probably name 2 or 3 of them, yeah?
Well, one of the main things is that, you know, marketing itself, the activity of marketing, it's the ing, is continual. So a lot of people get worn out and tired from doing the marketing. They're doing all of this promotion, and they're really doing all of this packaging, and they're taking photos and all of this, and they're getting on Facebook. But really it's useless if they don't connect with the market that they're trying to reach. It's useless if they don't have a market, meaning that no one really wants what you're selling, okay? If you are just so in love with, I want to make sure that everybody has a Smurf, and we're going to have those Smurfs, you know, cupcakes or whatever. I'm just thinking something. And if you say, okay, we're going to build 1 million Smurf cupcakes, well, no one really wants those Smurf cupcakes, okay? It's really useless at this point. So you want to make sure that there is a market for it as well. The other thing you want to make sure is that you want to make sure that if you know the market, that you actually know the market, meaning that you know their hopes, their dreams. You actually know their their beliefs,